Okay, so how do you get promoted? We talked in the last video about what the belts are kind of esoterically, like what kind of material do you cover, but how do you specifically move from one belt to the other? We have each belt requirement laid out with stripes, or there's 4 stripes on each belt, and then you're awarded your next belt. Now, the stripes are awarded based on testing on specific material, so like a knowledge or performance component, not performance under duress, not like live training or fighting or competing or anything like that, but more technical accumulation of knowledge. I want to make sure that you have the material for that level down. So, for example, in white belt, each stripe has its own list of individual techniques that you have to do. So you'll test for that stripe. If you pass that test, you're good, you get your stripe, so on and so forth. For the 4th stripe, you have to roll for, however, there's different minutes. I think we follow standard Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition rules for that. So white belt, I believe, is like 5 minutes, on up to brown belt being like 8 minutes. So the idea is after 4 stripes, you roll, so I can, at that point, observe your training, see that you have the technical knowledge of all 4 stripes, and see where you are at, and kind of make a mental picture in my head at that point of what I want to see out of you in order for you to get your belt. After you've gotten the 4 stripes, getting your belt is not done by a test. Getting your belt is kind of this sense of when I see what I'm looking for out of you and your potential, and that's a little bit too arbitrary for a lot of people to feel comfortable with, but man, there's nothing I can do about that. Like, in my mind, awarding belts is very, very individualized, and it's very personal. It's what I see. It's like an artist that does sculpture. Like, they look at a block of wood or a big rock, and they see in their mind what they think that thing can be. And it's the same thing with every student. I look at that person, and I get this sense in my mind of what I believe that person is capable of. And for me, at each level, when you reach that potential, that's when I award the belt. So the stripes are kind of these measurable progressions along the way that help you bide your time as you progress, and help you progress in the correct direction to ensure that you get the skills necessary to develop what I want to see for that belt. But the belt itself is still kind of, to this day, we do it in the way that I came up, which is you don't know, there's no test. One day I walk up to you and we all beat you with our belts, which is a loving tradition of being beaten in for your new belt. So in any case, that's the idea, is that every belt has 4 stripes. Those stripes are based on technical testing of material. And every time you test, whether it's white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, doesn't matter. Every single time you test, you're responsible for the material that's required for that stripe, and also any material previous, any material. So my brown belts that take tests are being asked white belt questions, they're being asked blue belt questions, certain. So that means, 1, I'm making sure I'm guiding the direction of your training as you move forward, but I'm also making sure that at least a couple of times a year you're going back and keeping a solid foothold on the basic material so you never get too far away from that. So 4 stripes on each belt. Each one of those is a testable progression. Belts themselves are awarded in a little bit more of an esoteric manner. It's when I believe you are at the level that I want to see for you for that belt. And then I award that belt, and then you begin moving on, accumulating your stripes for the next belt, so on and so forth. So that's kind of how it works as far as stripes and progressions go.